One of the fascinating things for me, characters for me, has been yours in this entire franchise because she's been kind of the biggest mystery. You just hate her so much for a while because she comes across so cold, but you always know there's more to it because she's a part of this family. She obviously has the affections of Emmett, so there's more there. And in this one, we get to see more of that more layers to her. When you guys first started talking about this particular film and how you wanted her to come across, what were some of the characteristics you wanted to see in her come through?
Well, I always wanted to stay true to, I wanted that transition to be smooth, and I wanted it to make sense for her to go from sort of cold to warm with Bella, but I didn't want it to feel unnatural, and so I wanted to stay true to who Rosalie. I mean, she's just as strong in this movie, I think, as she is in the others. It's just, I think the audience has, they get to see her from a different perspective because this time she's on Bella's side, and so you're sort of looking at her in a different light. But I don't think that she's, she's slightly more, I guess, vulnerable because everything she's going through is totally dependent on what Bella's going through. So she's a little more vulnerable, but you don't feel like she's just a completely different person,
One of the things that I've loved about the franchise is it seems like as we get past the first film, each film gets the characters a little bit more history, a little bit more layers.
Yeah.
So in the last film, we got to see more about Jasper and learn more about him. And we see you evolve a little bit more. As we've gotten to see this now, where do you think is Rosalie's role in the family? How do you see her presence in the family and the role that she plays there?
I think that each one of the family members, I don't think that the family would be the same without any of them. I think that that's the dynamic between, I think that it's complete with all of them there. I guess I don't know. I think Rosalie brings a sort of, I don't know, not solidity, just, she doesn't second guess herself. She doesn't, she's like the voice of reason, I think, in the family. She's sort of the one that brings like logic into the equation sometimes especially in the books, when everyone wants to live in this fantasy world and believe that these things are possible, Rosalie steps in and says like, hey, here's the consequences. And so I think in every family there is that person.
Now, one of the things, if you have a franchise of films, you don't want characters to stay the same. You want to see them evolve a little bit and grow, develop.
Right.
But you have the extra little complication that your character's a vampire who is extremely old, and people after 40 don't want to change. So how when you're approaching her, did you want to strike that balance of having this character evolve and grow a little bit, but keeping in mind that she can't evolve and grow too much because of who she is?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that I wanted it to feel like she was still the same person just because she was making different choices. And so I really looked to Bill for this. I went to him before we started shooting, and he's so wonderful. He had like individual rehearsals with every single actor, and we had 40 new actors this time. So it was like, I don't even know when he slept or ate. But Bill seemed to, he thought a lot about Rosalie, and he thought a lot about how this transition would work. And it didn't feel like, because Rosalie's not a bad person, and in the films you've only gotten to see one side of her, but there's so much more to her in the books. There was a lot to play off of from the information and the history in the books.